As of the making of this video, there are 5 undefeated teams in the NFL. Which teams have a chance of deep playoff runs, and can 2 of the teams make it to Super Bowl 59? I'll be using a variety of data from Pro Football Focus, NFL game stats, player intangibles, place kicker ratings, and quality of head coaching positions. Now let's get into it. I started off on Pro Football Focus, which some experts swear by and others laugh at. I ran down each player that plays significant time, threw it all in a grinder, and came up with each team totals for offense, defense, and the teams collectively. Keep in mind, I spent countless hours coming up with my own unbiased way to calculate these totals, not knowing what the final results would be. The Seattle Seahawks came out on top with a 70.4% individual/team PFF. Coming in at number 2, the Pittsburgh Steelers with a 69.63. Closely in third were the Minnesota Vikings with a 69.54. But then there was a drop-off to the Kansas City Chiefs with a PFF of 65.55. Rounding out the bottom were the Buffalo Bills with a PFF of 63.37 through the first 3 weeks. But wait, you might say, the NFL put out its power rankings and have it completely opposite, with the Kansas City Chiefs number 1, the Bills number 2, the Vikings number 3, the Steelers number 9, and finally the Seattle Seahawks falling in at number 11. So let's dig into it deeper. On the defensive side of the ball, via individual player PFF collectively, the Seahawks rank number 1 out of these 5 with a 72.22. Number 2 is the Steelers with a ranking of 70.79. Coming in at third is the Vikings with a 66.65 score. And rounding out the bottom 2 are the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs with a score of 64.14 and 62.01 respectively. But what do the game stats say? The Steelers have given up the fewest yards, 229.7 per game, and the fewest TDs, 2. The Seahawks are number 2, giving up 248.7 yards and 3 TDs. Third is the Buffalo Bills, giving up 286.7 yards and 5 TDs. Then fourth is the Vikings, 310.7 yards and 3 TDs. And way down at the bottom is the Kansas City Chiefs, having given up 361 yards per game and 6 total TDs. The Steelers' defense ranks first in the league, the Seahawks second, the Bills 8th, the Vikings are 13th, and the Chiefs' defense is 25th out of 32. On offense, my PFF rankings have the Vikings at the top with a score of 72.43, followed by the Kansas City Chiefs at 69.09. The Seahawks are at number 3, scoring 68.53. Not too far behind is the Steelers at number 4 with a score of 68.47, and the Buffalo Bills find themselves way down at the bottom with a lowly score of 62.6. You might be saying I've watched the Bills with my own eyes and they can't be 5th out of 5. Well, let's dig into it further, shall we? The Seahawks averaged 344 yards per game, the Vikings 329.7, the Bills 329, the Chiefs right behind them with 328, and way down on another page somewhere is the Steelers with 289 yards per game. The Bills offense has put up 14 TDs so far, the Vikings 10, the Seahawks and Chiefs both with 8, and some might think, somehow, how are the Steelers 3-0 with 3 TDs scored? Boswell did make 6 field goals to win Week 1, which leads me into my next category, kickers. At the top we have Boswell and Bucker with ratings of 82, Tyler Bass with a rating of 76, Meyer with a 75 respectively, and Will Richards at the bottom of the barrel with a rating of 67. My second to last subject is intangibles. Key things for the Seahawks are the 2 ball hawks, Wooler and Witherspoon at defensive back. The Seahawks have 2 new faces on the offensive line, center Williams and left guard Tomlinson. How will they continue to mesh with the 3 returning linemen? And how will Geno Smith, the 2-time Pro Bowler, continue to develop as an established starter? Key things for the Minnesota Vikings. Well, it actually all boils down to one intangible. The now journeyman Sam Darnold. Through 3 weeks, he has just 8 TDs and 2 interceptions. Will this continue in his new setting, or will he revert back to the days as a Jet and Panther? Keys for the Kansas City Chiefs. Well, they are the hunted by all 31 other teams in the league, looking to win their 3rd straight Super Bowl. The Kansas City Chiefs last year may have had the most underrated defense in recent history. Of course, they have Patrick Mahomes and Travis Swiftie on the offensive side of the ball, and as everyone around the league knows, the Chiefs have the non-secret secret weapon known as the refs. The Buffalo Bills may be the sexiest pick to win the Super Bowl this year. They have a great defense for the 9 millionth year in a row, but it all boils down to one thing. They have the best player in the league on their team. Can Josh Allen stay away from those costly deep interception mistakes and get the Bills back to the Super Bowl? The Steelers are a mess. They lost their starting quarterback and 2 best offensive linemen. Yet they win and win and win ugly. It's very tough to watch, but I'm liking what I've seen from Justin Fields. The Steelers are still shopping for wide receivers, and if they land a solid number 2, that may just be enough to make some damage in the playoffs. Lastly, the most important people in all of this, outside of the actual players, the head coaches. The first one is a huge question mark, Mike Macdonald. He is in his first year coming over from a decade of service with the Baltimore Ravens, where he spent the last 2 seasons as their defensive coordinator. Then there's the Vikings, third-year head coach, Kevin O'Connell. He He's 23-14 in 2+ seasons with the Vikings and 0-1 in the playoffs when he lost to the Giants back in 22. Next up on experience is head coach Sean McDermott. Sean joined the team in 2017 and has a 5-6 postseason record, losing to the Chiefs 3 times in heartbreakers the last 4 playoffs. Mike Tomlin, coach of the Steelers since 2007. He had early success in his career, winning a Super Bowl in his second season and making it back just a few years later. Tomlin started his career winning his first 5 playoff games and has gone 3-10 since, not having won a playoff game since 2016. Mike Tomlin's claim to fame has now become never having a losing season and getting humiliated in the playoffs. I've followed Andy Reid since he became the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles back in 1999, where they went to 4 straight NFC Championship games, alongside Donovan McNabb, his workhorse. Since joining the Kansas City Chiefs in 2013, he's been to the AFC Championship game 6 times, winning the Super Bowl 3 times, and has an overall playoff record of 26-16 and counting. He basically is the definition of the phrase, been there, done that. But tell me, what do you think? Will Geno Smith and the Seahawks continue to roll? Is Sam Darnold in the right situation now to succeed and lead the Vikings all the way? Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. Will the Steelers make some noise in the AFC playoffs with whomever their quarterback might be? Can Josh Allen, the best player in the NFL, get the Bills out of the Scott Norwood curse and get themselves past the juggernaut that is the Kansas City Chiefs? Will the NFL continue to use Taylor Swift as a tool to gain popularity, and thus the Kansas City Chiefs win their 3rd straight Super Bowl? Or will she jump Travis Swiftie and someone else win it this year? Before I give my thoughts, hit that like button and subscribe button. 2 quick clicks help a newer channel like me more than you could ever know. And congratulations to this week's Babe of the Week, Taylor Swift. After spending countless hours of looking at everything collectively, I feel like while the Seahawks are a good team, Geno Smith just isn't elite enough to get them to a Super Bowl. Maybe a win or 2 in the playoffs at best. In my opinion, Sam Darnold is for real. I like the Vikings to at least get to the NFC Championship game. I like 2 of the undefeated teams in the AFC to get to the AFC title game. However, it won't be the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not enough offense to compete if they get behind in the playoffs like they have done in the past 4 appearances. But more importantly, Mike Tomlin won't have a losing season, and after all, that's more important than winning a Super Bowl, right? The Buffalo Bills have the best player and best team. However, they are the Bills and will likely lose another heartbreaker in the AFC divisional round or AFC Championship game. Can and will the Kansas City Chiefs three-peat? With Patrick Mahomes and his magic, Andy Reid, Travis Swiftie, Taylor Swift and all of her Swifties, I like their odds. And to put them over the top, the black and white stripes always have their back. After all, the NFL isn't fair, it's entertainment.